Hi there, Snafu Al here. Um, just got back from Brighton, or I just got back to Brighton from North Bay. I was up there and got a little smoky. A lot of fires around Manitoulin. It's all around North Bay, actually. Algonquin Park, some other places. It was getting a little smoky in the air. Some people with asthma were bothering them, and there was a couple of what do you call it? Evacuations, fires. Kind of rough up there. I got to give a couple of homeless people $10 to buy a meal, but I didn't get the opportunity to cook up a nice stew for them or something and give them a meal. But I got some mechanical issues with the RV, and I had to come back, and I got to get that ironed out, because if I want to go south this winter, I'm planning on going straight down the middle: Nashville, Memphis, Texas, Arizona. I like to hit the cheap RV livings, I think they call it RTO or RTR or something, in Quartzsite. Quartzsite, apparently it's close to Phoenix. Anyway, I'd like to go there. And then there's a place that Bob Wells recommended for staying at on the real cheap, not as cheap as free, of course, but on the real cheap, in Coyote Howells Park, close to Tucson, or in that vicinity. Anyway, last year I couldn't cross the border because going from Canada into the United States, been doing it pretty much every winter for 50 years. But a couple of years ago, I got, for some reason, got flagged, and apparently when I was a little bit of a bad boy in 1970, I got into a little trouble. Misdemeanors now, they call it, or non-indictable offense in Canada. But apparently in 1970, it was a felony or a indictable offense. Anyway, 5 years later, 73, 75, in 75, I had the conviction pardoned and stricken from my record. But apparently, it just kept on file anyway for national security reasons. But anyway, somehow Homeland Security found out about it, and well, I guess the question was, have you ever been convicted and pardoned of an offense? And that's where they caught me, because I don't lie. What a lot of people don't know in Canada here is that Homeland Security does not recognize a Canadian pardon. Or now they don't call it a pardon, they call it a suspended conviction, I think, whatever. They call it something different, but you still have to go through the same rigmarole. But Homeland Security, as far as they're concerned, I'm a felon. So keep that in mind. Anyway, so I was inadmissible. So I had to get a waiver. Cost me $565 American. I filled out the application. Now this is something that a lot of Canadians don't know. They can just go to the border, get the application, fill it out, take it back, check, and it's done. You don't have to pay anybody $1,000 or $2,000 to do this for you. I went to the RCMP. Well, I went to the police station. I signed a Privacy Act waiver form, maybe they call it. I got the documents that showed the conviction and the suspended sentence, they call it now, but it was a pardon. And then I filled out the application, explained what the situation was back in 1970, what I did and why, and that I got it pardoned. And for the last 45 years or so, I've been a good boy and have traveled the United States without incident, what have you. And took it back to the border and gave it to the security and or the Homeland Security guys, and that was August 1st, I believe. And sometime in December, I got my waiver letter, but I had already left the country. I was in Jamaica, so my sister sent it on to me in Jamaica so that I could leave Jamaica and go to Fort Lauderdale and join her there and come back home with her, basically. So there's the letter. Ugh, that's all it is. It's a waiver letter. It's just a letter. It's just a letter that they mail out to you. I don't know how, if you can see it or not. It's not important. It says that I'm allowed to visit the United States. Entry at various points to various destinations in the United States. Purpose of seeking the entry was for business and pleasure, although not much business, but business and pleasure. Who I am. Multiple entries as a visitor for business and pleasure for a period of time not to exceed the authorized entry. This is good for 5 years. Now the admitting officer, when I cross, could say, well, you can only stay for 2 months or 3 months, but I don't think that's going to be an issue. I hope not. I'll find out this November. I have been granted multiple entries, it says here. For a period of stay to be determined by the admitting officer, provided that you are not inadmissible under any other section of law. This letter and form I-94, I guess that's this, must be presented at the border with my passport, and everything should be fine. I used it last February. I left Jamaica. I went to Fort Lauderdale, and I stayed there for a couple months and came home. I didn't have my RV. Terrible. I didn't like it, but hey. But Jamaica was beautiful, so, and cheap. And cheap. If you saw any of my videos, I was there like $250 Canadian for the rent, plus my share of Wi-Fi and what have you, food, whatever. So it was pretty cheap to live there for the time I was there. November 1st till I think it was February 5th. I was going to stay till May, but the waiver came, so I didn't. Anyhow, you Canadians, that's having trouble getting over the border, and don't argue with them. It won't do you any good. They'll do what they've got to do. You got to jump through the hoops, that's all. So be ready to jump through the hoops. And enjoy. obviously I'll let you know how it goes this November 1st when I try and cross over, because I'm going to want to go right down to, hopefully all the way down to Arizona and spend most of my time there. I may, near the end of my stay, I may want to drive over to Florida, providing the RV's in good enough shape, but drive over to Florida and then back up, visit my sister in Fort Lauderdale again, and just sort of follow her back home, or not, stay as long as I can, I guess. Anyway, um, on my journey, I will, as much as I can afford to, um, be helping out homeless people. I got an idea. I could make a nice, beautiful stew, bread and butter, and some bananas, and a banana and an orange and an apple for dessert. Uh, Beef stew, chicken soup stew, something like that. Nice little meal that I can make here in the RV. Not cost too much money because I don't have a lot. I just have my little Canada pension stuff. Anyway, see you on the flip side.